What's up, kids? Good morning. Let's do some more Q&A on building your own mastermind. Yesterday, we kind of jumped into this topic, and it's open to can of worms, which is great. Totally enjoy hanging out and answering everybody's questions. So building your own high-ticket mastermind, like how do you do it? We've done that pretty successfully, and we've also built online courses out of that process. And that's a question that came up a lot in the threads that came out from yesterday's conversation, the Q&A, and people were private messaging that stuff too. So here's the bottom line. We want to dive in today. Any questions you got about building a high-ticket mastermind, we'll answer them. Just type your questions in there, and I'll scroll through them and get all I can in the next 20 minutes or so. But specifically, I want to start with today answering questions about building your own high-ticket mastermind because it's so easy to do. It's easier than you think. If you're a coach, consultant, if you're an expert in something, if you run your own agency like I do, and you actually want to teach people how to do some skill set you have, you can do that in a high-ticket mastermind. What's up, CN? Awesome to see you. The thing is, a lot of people try to create online courses, right? They try to build an online course. We've all been there. I actually tried to do 5 of those before I ever had my own mastermind. And I failed, right? I just completely bottomed out and failed on building an online course. Built the content, thought I had the market figured out, thought I had the messaging figured out, thought I knew how to present it and sell it and all that kind of stuff. And I just didn't, is what it came down to. I didn't have my hands on the right information and the right way to reach the market. The cool thing about having your own mastermind, though, is it allows you to sell into the topic, sell a group of people, a market into the topic, and bring transformation to them while you're getting paid very well for it, which does a couple things. One, it gives you revenue, right? You're going to spend some time on this thing, so it gives you money for your time. That's so important. 2, it gives you an enormous amount of information on what's actually going to bring a real transformation to the people you're trying to sell to. And believe it or not, it's not going to be what we think it's going to be. It's not going to be the course content you create early on. And 3, it's going to give you tons of marketing information. You're going to know exactly what attracts that market, what closes them, what brings them in, what allows them to actually take action to choose to join and choose to make a transition in their lives. That's a really big piece. That's a huge piece. When it comes to selling an online course, knowing those bits of information, what the market wants, what's actually going to bring them transformation in their life, and then that middle thing, the glue of what actually helps them make that decision. What process do they go through intellectually and emotionally to make a decision and take action? Those are really important things. So to answer a few more questions that came up, and I've got them kind of written out over here, to answer a few more questions that came up about how that process works. The first one's pretty general and it's pretty easy to answer. So when you're building an online mastermind, the question came up of how do you actually build a mastermind and build an online course at the same time? Super good question. And it's way easier than you think. So as you're teaching your mastermind, just like I'm doing here, literally right here on screen in Facebook Live, as you're teaching your mastermind and giving your instruction and helping people, you're showing them slides or drawings or doing whiteboards or whatever you need to do to explain what you do as an expert, record that. Just that simple. Like recording this like I'm doing right now is the easiest way to grab that content and repurpose it and resell it down the road. You're literally creating and teaching an online course while you're delivering it live to a small group of mastermind participants. You're just getting paid to do it. So you're building the content and you're answering their questions. You're going through the process, record that process. You can take those recordings, package them as an online e-course and resell it. It's the coolest thing ever. It's so easy. Hopefully that answers your question. The next question is more around timing. Like when you do start recording those, some people have kind of caught on that idea. You can record them, but when can you actually start selling that online course, right? You can literally start selling that online course a week or 2 into your online mastermind teaching. So as you're teaching a mastermind, you're teaching on Zoom, let's say, you're recording you and your slides, your drawings, whatever. Well, after week 1, you could, in theory, start selling the course. And you could start dripping it week by week by week, just a week delayed, to people who are doing online course purchases from you. Yeah, Jesse, awesome to see you. And you bet, man. So glad you're here. Ask questions if you got them. We'll drill them out as far as we can because so many people, particularly right now, are trying to create online content, right? Everybody's at home learning. Everybody's at home watching videos. Everybody's buying so much online material right now. And masterminds are flying off the shelves and the online courses too. So this is the easiest way to make all of that happen at once. So hope that answers the question about the timing thing. Literally when you're teaching week 2 of your mastermind, let's say you're going to teach for 6 weeks or 12 weeks or 90 days, or that is 12 weeks, and 10 weeks or 6 months, whatever it is. when you get to week 2 and you're teaching week 2 curriculum, you can be selling the online version, that recorded course, as week 1. And you can just start dripping it to people who are buying at a lower price point, but buying the same content. But they're just not getting near as much of your time. They're not getting the live interaction, the live Q&A, the community of mastermind builds, all that. Masterminds, I am 100% convinced, are absolutely the best way to get transformation into your market. If the people that are following you want to actually change something in their life, in their business, whatever it is that you teach, whatever it is your expertise is in, if they want to actually make real change happen, joining a mastermind for them is going to bring them the most change ever in the quickest amount of time, because they've got real engagement with you, the teacher, the author. It's way better than one-on-one. I know one-on-one they get engagement with you too, but when it comes to just group engagement, that is the best, because they're getting real engagement with you. They're getting to experience other people's questions, other people's realities, other people's real life situations, and they're watching that process go through, and they're building, and other people's questions are helping them learn. You're watching me right now answer other people's questions, because other people's questions help us all learn. The mastermind process just makes that happen really, really rapidly. And 3, there's accountability. There's built-in accountability. Even if you're not hammering accountability and saying, did you do your homework this week? You can't show up until you're not doing that kind of stuff. But just the fact that you're going through that process, and they're going through that process with a group of 5, 10, 15, 20 people at a time, nobody wants to show up looking like they didn't do their homework. It helps with getting the work done. And lastly, being in a group like that, your market will change more than anything else in a mastermind, simply because they're going to meet and make connections. The referrals that come inside our mastermind, the one that I teach, the connection that happens with the people in that mastermind is truly amazing to me. Like, these are super cool people. They're all driven to get stuff done. They make connections. They start leaning in on each other. And within a few weeks, people are starting to share referrals and share content and share ideas and help each other grow. And the growth rate, just having a sphere of other experts and people who are strong, driven people around you at the same time, makes us all grow. You know that old saying, we're most like the 5 people we hang out with most? Is that what it is? We become like the 5 people we hang out with the most, whatever that is. It's true. And when you're in a mastermind, you're constantly surrounding yourself with other people who are driven, they're successful, they're getting stuff done, they're moving forward. And I'm telling you, the people you invite to the mastermind will get so much change. All that to say, masterminds crush it. They really do crush it. And converting that recorded information into a course for those who can't really afford to be in your mastermind but still want to absorb the content and maybe get started on their own process, it's a really great way to do that. What's up, Tyler? Good to see you. Any other questions on that? Ask questions before I have to jump off here in a few minutes. I'm going to answer 1 or 2 more questions that came in yesterday, after yesterday's post, and make sure we hit those. Where do I host our mastermind recorded content for resale? We host our mastermind content in Kajabi, and we host so we have a High Ticket Mastermind for lead agency members who want to be in that kind of thing. We host that content, we record it live, we do live Q&A twice a week in that group, and we go into all kind of cool subjects. Well, if somebody can't show up live in the mastermind, we all have scheduling conflicts, right? We actually record that record it on Zoom, but then we host it in Kajabi so people can go back and rewatch that. All right, that's the mastermind content hosting. Well, we do the same thing with our recorded online course content as well. If people just want to buy the recordings, we call that the Elite Agency Master Class, and they can buy those. We host that in Kajabi as well. So super good question. Kajabi makes it really easy for you to package up what you're recording in one set and make it like a package or a program that you can resell some other time. So I would totally encourage folks to use Kajabi. We have several folks in this community who are amazing at building out Kajabi sites. And if you need help on that, shoot us a message and we'll just connect you in a joint, Facebook Messenger or something like that. But that's how we do that. Kajabi houses everything. CN, awesome. I see you there. One other point on Kajabi is you can double play back the replay. And I don't know, but for me, I like it when I'm leaning in on someone else's content. I like being able to play it back faster because I want to get to the content, get to the homework, start taking action. And Kajabi lets you speed up all those videos. I think that's pretty cool. CN, so your mastermind course may last 90 days. Do you offer financing to your students? Yes, good question. We do, CN. We've actually got, and there's so many ways to do this. when you start, here's how financing works for Mastermind. You can do that internally, and you can like extend a payment option through PayPal or something like that for your clients, or Kajabi actually, you can set up, I think Infusionsoft, we use Infusionsoft quite a bit too. My team could tell you more about that, but they do payment plans with that too. But we also, this is super cool for any of you folks who are doing high ticket masterminds. We do a financing option through a couple of groups, and they are like financing groups, like banks almost. You know, when you go to like get an orthodontic appointment, or you go to the dentist, or you go to some plastic or cosmetic practice, surgeon, whatever, if you want to get some medical procedure done that's elective, they offer financing. Same with cars, same with masterminds. The only trick there is if you want some other group to do the financing for you, you will get paid 100% in full right when someone buys, and they will take care of the financing, right? There's an interest rate that goes along with that for the person who's buying. But the thing is, you got to be able to prove that you have a viable high ticket mastermind that's actually getting results to apply for the financing. So we've been able to get some really cool financing, but we had to go through a couple of rounds of mastermind groups before we could get a financing group to finance our mastermind, because they want to know, number one, are the people going to get results and be able to pay us back? And number two, are we showing up with a good product, I guess is the best way to say that, so that people aren't getting ticked off and wanting their money back and want to get or anything like that, you know? So you kind of got to prove your viability first. But CN, obviously, you wouldn't have any trouble with that. I'm sure you'd build an awesome group, and that's how that works. They also want the third thing is they typically want a certain amount of flow of income coming through the mastermind program. So I think the one we used, their minimum was like if at least $75,000 a month. I think it was around $75,000 a month. That was their minimum threshold to allow a mastermind to do financing with them, meaning we had to show them that we've had multiple rounds of masterminds, all successful clients in the masterminds, and then that we were generating that kind of cash flow at a minimum so that they would know it was worth spending their time engaging with the group. That's a lot of information, but that's the nerdy side of it. And I hope nerdy, not dirty. It's nothing wrong with it. It's a nerdy side of it. There's a lot of details there. You can do your own financing through PayPal, where you would extend the payment plan and you'd be on the hook for being the bill collector or whatever. Anyway, so many options out there. Easy to do that though. Any other questions here? I'm about to jump off in just a second. I have one more question stacked up over here. So fire up your questions and I'll get to them. Last question over here is, okay, great, yeah. How many members do I let in my mastermind? This kind of came up yesterday. I just might not have hit hard enough. How many members do you let into your mastermind? How do you project the income you'll make, and how do you price your mastermind? Okay, let's handle this as a group question, because that's a really good question. 3 different pieces. Let's go first, and then I'll tag them on. First, I'm going to talk about how much you charge for your mastermind. I mentioned this yesterday. Only do a mastermind if you're going to charge $5,000 or more per seat, per participant. And I base mastermind pricing. I tell all the folks who we teach how to do this, just simply base your mastermind pricing on the value that you're going to bring to the person you're helping. So if you're bringing them a substantial value change in their life or in their business or something like that, then absolutely be charging based on that value. So if you're going to make $100,000 difference in their life, then charging them $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 is not that big a deal. It's worth it. You just got to be able to help them see that worth and that value. If you're going to bring a relationship change to their life and you're doing a relationship or life coaching mastermind, let's say, this group doesn't have a ton of life coaches. We do have a lot of coaches. They're typically business and marketing. But if you're doing something that's a soft skill like that, that's not just connected to dollars, it's still pretty easy to value even life change situations on money. Most parents I know, I'm a parent, I've got 5 kids. Most parents I know will do whatever it takes to have a good relationship with their kids, right? So if you're helping someone with that kind of relationship change, that's a very valuable thing. It's easy to charge for that. So at least $5,000 per participant, and more is better. It's interesting, people get the value and the change out of what they pay for. Human nature. I wish I was better than that personally, but I've found that true in my own life. When I pay more for something, I value it more, I take more action, I take it more seriously, just the way it works. That's the pricing thing. And then let's talk about the number of people in your group before we talk about projecting income. Number of people in your group, absolutely you want to start with 5 people or more. I would be kind of leery if it's your first group. I wouldn't go past 20 people. I would probably stay in the 15 to 10 range, just because groups get busy and they take a lot of time and the Q&A sessions get long, and you want to figure out how to manage that through your first group. And 10 or 15 people is kind of a sweet spot. No less than 5, because you want to have a group. You don't want to just be one-on-one or one-on-2 coaching. It needs to be a group to make it really valuable. And then I would stay under the 15 mark. That being said, let's talk about income projections. You can fill up a mastermind if you have no audience, no list, no Facebook group, no nothing. You can start all of that and literally be selling into your mastermind within 2 weeks, like closing deals. When we first started ours, I think it was around week 2 when we started closing deals, and we've taken a bunch of people through this process now that are in our mastermind, and they frequently close deals within the first 10 to 14 days, and they're typically at that 5-member mark in about 4 to 5 weeks. And most of them want to start with 10 to 15 people in their group. So within about 8 weeks, typically, they're at the 10 mark, the 10 people mark. And if they're, again, let's run projections, okay? Income projections. If you're charging at least $5,000, and we're going to try to encourage you to charge a little more, then we're going to, like, let's say you're charging $5,000, let's go low, and you get 10 people in there. That's $50,000 that you sold in the first 8 weeks. $50,000. I mean, $50,000 is $50,000, right? Nothing to sneeze at. That's great income, and it doesn't require a lot of overhead. A Kajabi account, a Zoom account, and if you don't already have a little cheap webcam or something, that, and then just some time building slides and getting your material ready, and actually talking to people and helping them choose your mastermind. That's the process. It's pretty straightforward, and that's on the low side. So 50,000 on the low side, and then it just comes down to, thanks for that, was a good question, but it just comes to answer the question, it just comes down to how much you're going to charge and how many people you're going to have in there. Typically filling a mastermind with 10 people or so should take about 8 weeks, from starting from scratch, 0, no lists, no connections, no big audience. And then it comes down to, did you charge them, charge those 10 people 5,000 or 10,000 or 15,000 or whatever. You're going to make 50, 100, 150,000, whatever in that time period. And then you're going to sit on it, right? You're going to sit on it, teach your material, and then you're going to open up another mastermind in another 90 days or whatever. So you could kind of get on that cycle of selling and teaching and selling and teaching. Hey, if your mastermind just sold for $10,000 per seat, 10 people per time, that 4 times a year, that's an extra $400K in your agency's income. That's not a bad deal, right? Okay, CN, how often do your, by the way, that's the last question I have on my list here. So anybody else who's got one, fire it away right here. What's up, Ben? Great to see you, dude. How often do your mastermind classes meet during the week? Yeah, so CN, we do 2 different masterminds, okay? One of them is a year long. Let's talk about that one, and then we'll talk about the one that's a shorter one. We have one that's 9 weeks long. The year long one, we meet in the first 12 weeks of that year. We meet twice a week. We teach and do Q&A every Thursday. All right, then we do another just open Q&A on Mondays to make sure nobody gets stuck and everybody's moving. That's what we do in that year-long process. For the first 12 weeks, we meet twice a week, and then once a week every week after that, because people are kind of up and running and they have a lot of momentum, and we're diving deep into agency subjects for the rest of the year. A year-long mastermind is a big mastermind. It's a big undertaking for our staff. I'm not recommending anybody do that. We've just migrated to that model because people really want to stay in and keep their connections, and they want to continue diving deeper in their agency model. Cool. I would recommend most folks who start out with like a 10, maybe 8 to 12 weeks, let's say, trying to figure out how to create and build your content and figure out a way to help people get that transformation they want over the course of 8 to 12 weeks. That's where I'd start. Our 9-week-long mastermind is a once a week thing. We meet once a week, and we meet for 2 hours once a week, because that one we teach and present content, and then we just dive in and get all of our Q&A done in that one time block versus having it split over 2 time blocks in the week. So anyway, hope that helps. Any other questions here before I dive off this call? These are really good questions. Honestly, in our Facebook group, the Lead Agency Inner Circle here, this Facebook group we're all watching in right now, most of the people in this group, most of you could have a successful mastermind. It is really not that difficult. It's a nuts and bolts, it's a mechanics issue. Most people struggle with how do I get the prospects lined up, and then how do I sell them on the idea of joining my mastermind, and then how do I deliver / create the content. So the prospecting piece, the selling piece, and the content delivery piece are typically where most people struggle when they're really about to go for it. And we should probably talk about that. We maybe can address more of that on Thursday. Let me just look here. Thursday's live Q&A. Yes, we don't have a guest speaker. Perfect. So yeah, let's do that on Thursday. Thursday's live Q&A, 10 o'clock Central right here. We'll dive into the prospecting side, the sales side, and then the content delivery side. We can make this mastermind week. How fun. And so fire off any more questions you have down here in the feed for this conversation, and I will get them locked and loaded and ready for Thursday. Because again, most of you in this group could totally have, what's up Sheridan? Most of you in this group could totally have your own mastermind and turn that into an e-course setup. Sheridan is so awesome. If any of you don't know Sheridan, click on her profile right now. Go say hi to Sheridan. She's awesome. So CN and Sheridan, y'all need to meet if you haven't already. Ready. Boom. That's right. So anyway, that's it for now. Y'all have a fantastic day. We'll dive into prospecting, pricing, and then content creation about building your own mastermind on Thursday morning, 10 o'clock Central. If you have specific questions about that, let me know and I'll do my best to cover them. You bet, CN. Looking forward to Thursday as well. Woohoo. Talk to you soon. Sheridan, tons of hearts out to you as well. Almost did the Taylor Swift heart. I'll give you that. It's great seeing all of you out there, and y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. Talk soon on Thursday.